Hello everybody, Billy Tucci here, and I want you all to know that Fantastic Comics in Berkeley is the best effing comic shop in the United States of America, maybe the world! Booyah!
The shinola on that one. All right. Now I would like to address this arts funding issue. Now this all reminds me of a humorous story of the traveling salesman. Let's say that the taxpayer is a farmer and the government is a salesman. Well, the farmer says you can spend the night in my barn, but do me a favor, don't stick your willy into any of the 3 holes in the wall. Well, in this case, the salesman's willy represents the taxpayer's money, you understand? Well, the government, like the salesman, can't help himself. Sticks his willy in the first hole, it feels good. Sticks his willy in the second hole, it feels even better. Sticks his willy in the third hole, and it hurts like hell, and it won't let go. Well, in the morning, the farmer comes out and he explains. Behind the first hole was my wife. Behind the second hole was my daughter. And behind the third hole was a milking machine that don't let go till it gets 50 gallons. Gentlemen, I propose that this arts funding is like a milking machine, and unless we shut it down, it's going to rip our dicks right off.
John, the kind of control you're attempting is, it's not possible. Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
Okay, you're checked in?
Yeah, thank you.
Here's your AIDS ribbon.
No thanks.
You don't want to wear an AIDS ribbon?
No.
But you have to wear an AIDS ribbon.
I have to?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to.
But everyone wears the ribbon. You must wear the ribbon.
You know what you are? You're a ribbon bully.
Hey! Hey, you! Come back here! Come back here and put this on!
From the pen of America's wealthiest author, Irving Sidney, the man who gave us the bestsellers Irving Sidney's The Naked Virgin and Irving Sidney's The Power in the Flesh, comes Irving Sidney's sizzling new blockbuster.
Hey, baby. Long time no see, huh?
There must be some mistake.
Come on, who you kidding? It's me. It's Bert. Look, I'm in town with the textile convention, and I thought maybe we could, party!
I don't do that anymore. You better get out of here, or you wake the president.
When President Harrison Chandler was married in the White House, it was the social event of the decade. The courageous president and his beautiful new bride. But she possessed a secret that could shatter her dreams and topple a government.
I'll meet you in the Lincoln Room in 5 minutes.
She was forced to live a lie when her sins came back to haunt her. She was First Lady of the Evening. Irving Sidney's First Lady of the Evening. A magnet paperback in easy-to-read type with no big words.
Well, I've been working on a thing. It's sort of like Stummies.
Go on. I like what I hear so far.
It's exactly like Stummies.
And the twist is?
It's a much bigger pill.
I like a lot. Is it ready for production?
Yes, sir. It's ready to go.
Yeah, but have there been any side effects?
Yes, sir. A few side effects.
Well, that's okay. As long as there's no flipper babies, right, Don?
Well, there have been a few flipper babies.
Mr. Moore, will you sign my DVD of Watchmen Babies? Which of the babies is your favorite?
You see what those bloody corporations do? They take your ideas and they suck them. Suck them like leeches until they've gotten every last drop of the marrow from your bones.
Hey, Teacup, why don't you chill out?
Very well. Oh, little Lulu, I love you, Lou, just the same.
Andy Warhol and John Waters, in conjunction with Saliva Productions, present Jim Barrie's beloved children's classic, Peter Pan.
I think I see him. No, that's just a cloud. No, it's not. It's Peter.
I'm flying. Look at me way up high, suddenly here am I, I'm flying.
Yes, it's Divine, starring as the boy who wouldn't grow up.
I won't grow up.
I won't grow up.
I don't want to go to school.
I don't want to go to school.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
And recite a silly rule.
And recite a silly rule.
Have you even heard him sing?
He made me sing last night. And if I were straight, I'd make you high-five me right now.
You are letting your judgment be completely clouded by lust.
Yes, thank you. See, Robert, Saul gets it.
Look, this isn't about me anymore. That dunce cannot be Sky.
Robert, I hear you, but I feel like you're not even considering Stevie's badonkadonk.
This is where he every day I wear in a necklace. Look at this, and he's in this urn.
Is his ashes?
Yeah, his ashes right here and here. Yep. So both of my grandpas are here.
What's that other thing on the necklace?
It's a Punisher emblem.
What's that about?
I like the Punisher just because he's he takes his the law into his own hands to punish the people that wronged him.
Is that Henrietta Pussycat? The Henrietta Pussycat from the neighborhood of Make Believe?
The same. Thank you, P. I use her as a shower, Mitch. Does that bother you, Quizby?
Exactly, Lidge! That's a priceless artifact and part of our collective childhood, you monster!
Lucy and Ramona cruising through the jungles of L.A. Hoping to promote a dream somewhere along the way. They're rolling through the streets, looking for a disco, passing up the treats from a kid named Cisco, trying to make connections with their blemish-free complexions, and just as fate would have it, ended up with Sunset Sam. Sam was selling watches from a suitcase on a TV tray. And Lucy and Ramona were trying to figure out if he was gay. The three of them were standing, staring at each other, when the light behind their eyes blew each other's cover. The ancient code was branded, and each of them was handed a ticket to their kingdom, 'cause they saw their brother Sunset Sam. Sunset Sam. Lucy was from Compton, and she met Ramona at the zoo. Ramona was from Brooklyn, but she left when she was 22. Sam was a native of the Arizona desert, but he split when he was slated for some governmental make-work. Their differences subsided when the common bond was sighted. They were all from the same place that made the famous Sunset Sam. Lucy and Ramona and Sunset Sam. People on the streets trying to find a plan. People on the streets looking for a land. Lucy and Ramona and their brother Sunset Sam. Yes, sir, Lucy and Ramona and Sunset Sam. People on the streets trying to find a plan. People on the streets just looking for the land. Lucy and Ramona and their brother Sunset Sam.
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. Now everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of pep. We're gonna start with high jump. Just watch this chorus steps.
Originally settled as Ocean View during the 1850s, the city's population boomed with displaced
But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. Thanks for joining us tonight or after the fact, all of y'all out there. Thank you. I'm not supposed to really talk about people out there. Something I heard. So, of course, that's the thing I do the most. Hey, everybody. How's it going? For those of you that are new here and don't know what we're all about here at Fantastic Comics Presents,
my name is
Yule Carter, comic book retailer in Berkeley, California.
Yeah, we're not just a YouTube channel about comic books, but I am a comic store owner. We are on 1708 MLK Jr. Way in Berkeley, California, Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. And we're going to get together tonight and talk about things that we talk about in the store. The first thing I like to give just a little bit of a mention to, because it is the smallest part of things that we talk about in the store, a little segment that I like to call talk about some wrestling. I kind of forgot to mention one of my thoughts from last week. And it's like a lot of people in comic books really like wrestling. And when there are creators, I don't know, maybe I'm on the fence. Maybe I do like them. Maybe I don't like them. And they offer a wrestling opinion that isn't so deep or doesn't feel as deep as they want it to be. Again, a little snobby is what I'm saying. And it can be a little disappointing when they mention it. But, you know, hey, wrestling is a comic book thing. Like I said, creators like it. Fans of the genre, independent and mainstream, like it. Yes, that's comic books to wrestling and wrestling to comics. It doesn't always mix, but every once in a while it does, and sometimes it's actually good. And we've got WrestleMania season starting up because the Royal Rumble is a couple weeks away. And that's the only thing that's really important about wrestling going on right now, other than like, you know, silly dramas and this and that. But, you know, you can go to YouTube shows and watch it. Maybe we'll bring it up afterwards. That's your Wrestling Minute. Oh, man, almost a perfect one. Thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about some comic books that are coming out tomorrow. We're going to talk about the best of last week. Let me know in the chat, all of you out there, what you thought was your favorite of last week. I'll read it. And if there's something you have to have me read, there's always like a super chat function and stuff like that for the show, because we're a legit monetized show. But yeah, we'll be getting to y'all in just a moment. First, I should turn on the cam. Bring this down just a little bit. Like my tick shirt. Boom. First issue. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you something that I worked on today. I pressed comics. I do this for books that need it that I'm going to sell. And I also do it for some customers that bring them in. I charge about $10 a book. I only do like light cleaning and stain removal. Not even stain removal. I don't want to do that stuff. I just get the dirt off. Dirt and press. That's what I do. But it works out pretty good for the most part. I don't say that I'm going to do anything special to the book, but it'll be better than it was when it got to me. Or it won't be worse, is what I say. The comic I worked on today is Amazing Spider-Man number 93. That's the shot of it. Let's look at the upper corner. You can see there is stainage on this is my brand new phone, by the way, that took the picture. Over here on the left, there's a roll. And over on the right hand side, you can see the page at the end, like creasing. Now, I haven't looked at I have it right here, but I haven't looked at the book yet. I just kind of brought it in. And here's the back, and you can see, oh my gosh, lots of stainage. So I think no matter what happens with this book, it can't like become better than like a 6.5 at like best. Just because of all that. Because like the stain is just too hard. You can get the dirt up, but man, when it's water stain like that. I took pictures of the inside also, but that's boring. We don't need to see that. What we need to see is how does the book look now? Let's do it. right here. I've got the board still in the center, so I'm going to pull that out right now. I'm going to just prove that I didn't ruin it. You can look right here. I might have done it just now, but the pages don't move. All right. So let's see if we can get this in the camera here. So that's what we're all about, right? So obviously you can still see in the R the staining of it, but let's look at it up close. So before and after. So it's pretty darn flat. I'm pleased with the way it looks. And then if you look on the inside, even the paper is a lot better than it was right there. Now on the back, you could see. So this is just what pressing can do for a comic book. I don't think it's really, see, that's what it looked like before. And that's what it looks like now. Let's do it one more time. And let's get that corner. Let's get that corner. Get it up close. And you can see it's a lot cleaner, but that stain is still there. Now you can there's people that do that stain removal. But I mean, you're taking away, structurally part of your comic book. So we're all seeing this for the very first time together. This is kind of fun. There we go. It's action. It's action. So it was more like this was kind of like bending a little bit. And then over here, the page was right around, if I remember correctly, his foot. And then I'm going to bring that up right now. So different. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. No, wrong one. There we go. There's his foot. See how that is? I'm going to try and get like that for you. So there you go. So probably like a 6'5", like I kind of thought it might be. What do y'all think about that? Pressing, woo! It does wonders for a comic. It also brings the gloss out in the cover quite often, especially on those older books. The ink kind of sets in better, and it just looks really, really good. Yeah, I recommend it. If you do that or have someone that you know that can do it, you should get them to do it. It's worth it. All right. I used to have a commercial that said, "Hey, press with me," but that kind of stuff. I can't find it right now. To all of you out there right now. Hello.
Hello. Oh! Look out! Hello.
Look out. Hello. Hello, everyone. Like I didn't know you were going to be here. Earlier in the day, Fantinuum says, the good and the bad of variant covers. I only see good. LOL. Bring on the variants. That's right. Bring on the variants. Eric O'Sullivan, getting ready for tomorrow. Good morning, Eric. Yet I saved space in my collection by not falling for the cheesecake of certain variant covers. I can be swayed by variants. You'll hook me up with some recent Momoko Nightmare covers. They're darn good. I too sway under the influence of the peach. What can I say? I'm only human. Jill B. Pill in the other room. Hello, Jill. Take care of that dog. Elaine Kramer, I see you all is ready to go. Ultimate Spider number 1 is coming. Our last Marvel hope for the first quarter of 2024. I don't know if it's the last hope, but it's it's one we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Lithalore, hello. And as has become tradition at this point, comic of last week was Conan. I did not read it, and I was going to include it in the best of the last week, but I didn't. I was also going to include last week's issue in the conversation for today, but I used issue number 1 instead. Talking Saul. You know what? That's right. All right. Cheers, everybody. Yes, Jill wanted to let everybody know, and that's right. That was not the end of the show. I will be ending with something else this evening. And I wanted to give myself a few more minutes because I was doing a lot of uploading of pictures because although I got rid of a lot of them that I was using just a few, that we just saw a few moments ago. If I put them up, like, let's see, I'm gonna put all of last week's or this week's stuff coming out. So let's see how it looks. It's always something we should test every once in a while live because, you can't do two things at once. All right. Let's go back up. Elithidor. Shortest episode yet. Spencer Welch 2. Elephant Parts by Mike Nesmith is the masterpiece. That's right, Spencer. In fact, we don't get to see you that often, if I recall. So wasn't it wonderful that we played it? Dwayne Muth. Hello, you all in chat. Finally got... how was it? Was it good? I've heard it's good. Although Fantinuum, I thought, would have enjoyed it more than he made it out to be. So maybe it wasn't that great. Elithilor. Tony Khan going nuts on Twitter the last couple days. That's right. Yeah. You wouldn't think he had 12 hours of weekly wrestling to book and a football and soccer team to manage. Ho, ho, ho. I don't know why I take such enjoyment when the Jacksonville Jaguars lose, but they sucked the last part of the season, and I don't believe they're in the playoffs. So when he gets at his very lowest and starts crying in front of people, I'll probably start changing my tune about him. He'll have to go in that angle. Let's see here. I just picked up the Warhausen comic and Batman 251 Downhausen variant. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy for you. Fair Monarch. Oh, hell yeah, Dwayne. Was it everything we've hyped it up to be? Fair Monarch on Eric O'Sullivan's stream said something about dropping things in chat that I wouldn't understand or that goes over my head. So please feel free to do that. I love looking stupid. That's right, Spoon. Also, I dropped some hard bones on a good-looking chair face tee. Oh man, I gotta scratch my nose. That's cool. Anybody watch the cartoon when it first came on? Well, it doesn't have to be when it first came on, but I was there. Let's see here. Tick versus Berry Tea. Oh my goodness, that's great. So is there other companies that do grading other than CGC? Lane wants to know. Yeah, there's CBCS and PGX, and I think there's another company. But if you care about the value of your comic books, then perceive value, then you won't go to anybody other than CGC. I don't know. I used to equate it to like Pete's and Starbucks, but that would be like, well, Pete's is better, but more people go to Starbucks. There you go, CGC. I, for one, welcome our new variant overlords. Well, I can't fight against it. I could eat a peach for hours. On that note, let's talk about comic books from last week. Sometimes it's because I read the book and I think it's good. It also can be influenced by something that sells well. So Conan does sell well, but I wanted to thrill you with something other than that. First up, A Vengeance of Moon Knight #1. I got to admit, it didn't really do much for me, but I read it, and it was very much like all the Moon Knights I've read before, except there's this dude or thing that's Moon Knight, and it's like, who's Moon Knight? It's a cool David Finch cover, though. That's the main cover. It's also sold out from distributor. Best of the week, #4. Doctor Strange, #11. Did not read it. Had a fill-in artist, but it sold out still nonetheless, and I had to get more. I've been selling out of Doctor Strange, and I wanted to let people know about that. And that although the covers are really cool, usually the artwork inside is too. Pascal Ferry's the main illustrator. I don't know who this Beirut is, but I thought the art on the inside was very good also. So there you go. Sellout alert. Fall of the House of X, #1. This is a 5-issue miniseries. It's going to correspond with Rise of the House of X. That's a little spoiler for something coming out tomorrow. And there's a lot of people that were hating on this for various reasons, and I kind of gave my, what I would have done as an editor to maybe make some of the changes so that we could still have the same things happen in the book. Anyway, I didn't think it was that bad, actually, and I'm looking forward to the end of this stuff, finally. It couldn't go on forever, and anybody that thought it was is fooling themselves, and anybody that thought it was going to go on as long as, I don't know, any other iteration of X-Men was, again, fooling themselves or were noobs and deserve to be treated the way they are. How's that? Neil before Zod #1. Oh, yeah, of course, Yule's picking this book. It sold well, did not sell out, so I do have copies, but this was a really good first issue. I liked it a lot, and the first part of it was actually kind of kicking Zod's kid out so that Zod's kid could go and do something in another book. And in like wrestling terminology, I think that's the perfect rub. A kid needed to look tough, but he also needed to get swatted down. And it's all very societal, and there's going to be a whole bunch of government kind of stuff going on and self-reflection. But don't worry, it's already like super violent, and it's everything I think I need from a Neil before Zod comic. I don't usually read villain books, but I'm a super big Joe Casey fan. The 199th episode, we had him on, and we talked about this. I think McDade's art is good. Possibly not. It's not like superstar work, but it's very much in line with classic, Paul Pelletier, Barry Kitson. Nothing super flashy, but it tells a really good story, and I can see what this is going to look like for 12 straight issues. As long as it comes out on time and it keeps up with what it's going for, I'm going to really be enjoying this book and pushing it on you. A book I don't actually seem to have to push on anybody is Amazing Spider-Man. This gang war isn't doing bad for my store, and it seems like it's doing good as Spider-Man 39 and 40 were #1 and #3 respectively on the top charts. And since they were more expensive issues than normal, they were also like the top spot in sales. It's just a popular book right now. I think like everything that we've been building towards from the beginning of the book is finally paying off. It doesn't feel like I necessarily had to read every single issue in order to get to this point. So I could totally tell you parts that you want to skip. And if you only want to read the Gang Wars stuff, it's going on right now, and it's doing pretty well. And John Romita Jr.'s, this was like an all-out brawl issue. And I dug it. I thought it was really good. And I see what you're all saying out there. Give me a break. I like Spider-Man. What can I say? And as long as it doesn't super suck, and it doesn't super suck. So those are the best of last week. All right, let's put that camera back on, take that banner down, and go back to the comments. Let's see here. Fear Monarch, or no, Lane Kramer. Wait, that doesn't make a sense. All right, hold on a sec, Lane. Fear Monarch. I think it's like EGC or EGS, but they have pretty slick, cool custom designs you can choose. Gonna try them soon. Good, let us know. Lane Kramer. Okay, that CGC stuff that happened. I have a couple of comics, would want to send it. Don't worry about it. It's more about what you're purchasing from CGC rather than getting that grade. I would still say CGC is the way to go. CBCS is not worth as much as a CGC comic book. The thing that hurts that is when a person buys it and somebody possibly, was doing shenanigans on it, working it. And you can never know that someone's not going to do that. But the hope is that the grade that you're getting it for yourself. This is good for your investment. It's good for if you don't have a store near you, you've got to do this so that you can, have insurance on your books, but the prices that result in this is just ludicrous and it's stupid, and that's the reason why I'm so against it. Battle Buddy. I can't say that. Frappuccins are better at Starbucks. The Frappies. The only corporate coffee I enjoy is Krispy Kreme. All right. Talking Soul says Mickey D's French roast is decent. Mickey D's pays money for that. Isn't Mary Jane's Jackpot series supposed to start soon? Oh, Lane, that's exactly what I'm saying. It can't just be Ultimate Spider-Man. What's the 411 on Gang War? I remember the old version. I did not read the old version. I was out by that time. It's all right. It's not the greatest. I'm a simp for Spider-Man. It's true. I wouldn't say I've chosen to keep reading Spider-Man. There's nothing wrong with Spider-Man that I'm reading. And if it was, I would have quit when it was Nick Spencer. And even that kind of turned around a bit, and then it didn't. The stuff in between, I just wish they would have just kept the numbering. It's just a little upsetting. I mean, I don't know why you can't keep numbering. Whatever. They do legacy numbering. Waiting for Cobra. You mean the Image miniseries that Kirkman's putting out? CBCS new labels aren't half bad. All right, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. I think CBCS is kind of like, there's that, it used to be this big conglomerate, store, or it became that way. And then there's the offshoot of it, the one person that was like, fuck you, I'm leaving, and I'm going to open my own thing. The people will know the difference. The people will know the difference. They don't know the difference. All right. Let me just delete these overlays really quick. Doing it right now. Do this one and do this one. And we're going to do some show and tell. Oh, this is going to this whole conversation about variant covers is going to be really fun. So I say. But first, let's talk about New Comic Book Day. All right. Tomorrow, we are open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5. It's getting dark still. So I close at 5, but you can call ahead and as long as I'm not entertaining somebody on the phone, we can I can let you know that I'll stick around for you. I have 2 comic books that I read already, and I wanted to be able to go in front of you. So when we get to them, I'm gonna let you know. First up, Avengers number 9, the Twilight Dreaming part. Jed McKay is trying to prove that he can tell multi-part stories, whereas before he wasn't. And like it's Doctor Strange. I mean, it is an arc, but he's a lot more classic in his storytelling that I enjoy. And I have enjoyed his Avengers, but I only read up to 7 so far. By the way, the trade of the first 6 issues comes out tomorrow. Transformers number 4. Daniel Warren Johnson writing and drawing and doing this cover. Awesome. It's time, everybody. Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 right here. And if you remember, I bought a subscription to this, and I don't have it yet. So we'll see when the next episode of this that I'll show you that one. But this book is really good looking. It's got Mary Jane and a bearded Peter Parker. They've got kids. He works for the Daily Bugle, as does J. Jonah Jameson. And oh my gosh, that's Ben Parker. I don't know if I got a picture of him there. Yeah. Oh, that's him walking away. Let's get a good picture of him. There he is. Right there. Ben Parker. Ben Parker's alive. Oh, this is the Ultimate Universe. Unfortunately, the Spider-Man stuff really doesn't happen till the end of the book. So it also explains the leap of faith that needs to be taken to get this ball of wax rolling. It was a good first issue, and you don't have to worry there weren't all those infographics that Hickman's known for. Good first issue. Action Comic Books. Oh my gosh, 2 in a row right there. Jason Aaron writing his first issue of Action. Oh, everybody all crying about Philip Kennedy Johnson. I didn't read every single one of his issues. This is a Bizarro story. It is weird. There's magic involved. There's really good artwork by John Timms, I think his name is. John Timms, yeah. He did some Bendis stuff, I think like Young Justice. For the most part, this is really, really good looking. There was a couple of panels that I thought were weird, but this whole scene right here, you've seen it in the other DC books from last week where Bizarro is just having a fight with Superman and they just like land on different planets and stuff like that. Good first issue. The whole issue is this story, so no backups. Good book. Liked it a lot. It's 3 for 3 so far with Jason Aaron over at DC. Next up we have Fish Flies number 4. Oh, I didn't read issue number 3, and according to my sales, either did you. So come on in and get number 3 and 4 because I know you like Jeff Lemire. Rise of the Power of X. I read this issue. It was a good first issue. Kieran Gillen's doing the art or the writing, and I think it's R.B. Silva doing the penciling. It was a good looking book, and it's interesting. It's another one of those that's building towards the end, and by the end of this issue, just like the other one, the Fall of the House of X, you know where it's going. So we'll see how it plays out. It's a 5-issue mini, and the first one was good, so come in and get it. Blade number 7. What? He's fighting Hulk. I don't know if I ordered enough of this. I already sell out of Blade as it is. Oh, better come in and get it. Sensational She-Hulk. Now, this is exactly what I don't want in my She-Hulk comic book, at least on the cover. Thankfully, this artist, who is good, isn't doing this on the inside. But is it better or worse? I can't tell you because I don't got it here. And I probably ain't going to read it because I can only do like 1 or 2 Rainbow Rowell issues of a series, and then I'm okay. But for some of you, I know you're down. If Wyatt Wingfoot was in it, maybe. Zorro, Man of the Dead. What, the Kickstarted comic book is coming to you live from Massive? The company involved with Whatnot, aiming to destroy comic book shops all across America. Yay, Zorro by Sean Gordon Murphy's coming out. But I did get copies because I know some of you are going to want it. There's also a car, like a hot rod. Muscle car, I mean. Subgenre number 3 by Matt Kent and Wilfredo Torres. Come on in and get it. You know you like Matt Kent stuff. It's magazine size. I know. All right, we have Rebel Moon. Who out there knows what Rebel Moon is? I hear it's something that's on Netflix. And Zach, don't confuse me for Scott Snyder. Snyder is doing like a TV show for them or a movie. And this was supposed to be his Star Wars. And then he got canned. And everybody was like, oh, thank God. I can't imagine like Star Wars being bad. Anyway, the comic comes out tomorrow. Wolverine 41. Oh, you want this one because Victor Lavalle is doing the writing. I mean, it's the most violent Wolverine story ever told. And I got to say, I am down for that. It's going to have Sabretooth in it. Sabretooth was written by Victor Lavalle. He did like 2 miniseries. It would have been like a 10 or 12 issue arc. Instead, it was like 2 miniseries. Benjamin Percy is also involved because he writes Wolverine. This is the Sabretooth War. It's part 1. It's like getting a brand new number 1 without it being a number 1 issue. It might even be better because, as series go on, it doesn't sell as well. But sometimes a smart store owner is out there. And let me tell you, sometimes a smart store owner says, you know what? I'll buy some variant covers also. And then there's a customer out there says, well, I'll go to Fantastic Comics anyway. Green Lantern number 7. I just got done reading this, and it was a very, very good a 7th issue. First issue. It explained a lot of the stuff that happened prior to this series starting up. So it kind of felt like a first issue. Oh my gosh, they're all over the place. I love that. See, that's the thing. You don't need to relaunch things. You don't need to end Rainbow Rowell's first series just so you will only read 1 issue of the next series. It's all the same people working on it. Maybe by the 25th or the 50th, you will be like, oh my gosh, maybe I should check this book out. And then he'll pick up another issue. Sacrificers number 6 comes out. This is by Rick Remender and Max Fiumura. Sacrificers was one of those series that I mentioned in very good books from last year. It was like a newer series, so I don't know if I could put it up there yet. But Rick Remender usually does quality stuff, and if you stick it out, you'll have a whole bunch of comics you won't care about later. Max Fiumura is a brilliant illustrator. Acid Chimp versus Business Dog. Now, this is exactly the kind of comic I love because you see, you read Sacrificers and you love every issue, and then you have 36 of them, and then the thing is done. And it's not like an IP that's being continued by anybody other than Rick Remender, and it's like a dead one. And unless something happens, you're probably not going to read it, or you're going to reread it once, and that's probably going to be it. But you don't want to get rid of those comics because you put in time and effort, and you read them, you liked them. It'd be a waste. Acid Chimp versus Business Dog, on the other hand, is a one shot. And if you threw it away and you told the writer and the artist that you read this and that you loved it and that you just recycled it, they'd probably shake your hand. And I know you can't get that signed, but who cares? This is a hilarious book, though. It is definitely going to go in my what the hell collection. Everybody should have something that's like, what the hell? And let me tell you, Acid Chimp is the friend, companion of like a supervillain. It comes from a book called My Bad. I haven't read it. I have some customers that really like it, and I like Mark Russell, but I can't read everything that doesn't matter. But this one shot, I could read that. And Acid Chimp, you know what he likes to do? He likes to throw acid on people, especially humans. And Business Dog, when he eats from a bowl that says sell, the economy tanks. And when he eats from the other bowl, it does good. And Acid Chimp is going to fight Business Dog. And this is hilarious. I thought this is already the best of the week. If I don't sell any copies of this, it's already the best of the week. Go to your comic store. And I know these are some very, very inflammatory words for people out there in the internet world. Go into the comic store and say, I want another Mark Russell comic. I want Acid Chimp versus Business Dog, because you're going to love it. I mean, search Church of the Subgenius. Anybody that likes that, you got to read this. If you like that, you got to read this. All right. Next up, Giant Size Spider-Man #1, because you're thinking to yourself, Miles Morales is totally involved in that gang war. And I buy the comic book, but I don't buy Peter Parker Spider-Man comic books. So I'm not going to really read this gang war stuff. But I really do want to read an extended Miles Morales Spider-Man story. Well, you know what? This book's for you. And I think it has a reprint in there too. Oh, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. You're like, you know what? I don't want dregs. Cody Ziegler, the main writer of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I don't want his dregs, and I don't need Coelho's Venom dregs. I want the main Spider-Man, the Miles Morales Spider-Man. Why? You'd want number 15 because it's part of Gang War, everybody. And my favorite comic is something that makes you buy something else. And this is a great one because someone that buys Spider-Man might think about buying a Miles Morales comic book. And you know what? Sometimes they stay on. And sometimes a Miles Morales person will be like, I want to buy that Spider-Man book because he's the real Spider-Man. That's new comic books for tomorrow, guys. All right. I got to turn on my camera for this next one. All right. Let's see. Did I get rid of all the pictures? Oh, just about. Let me just do that really quick. Any of those look good to you? What are you going to go and get tomorrow or this week coming out? Somebody on Twitter, I had to one up them. They're like, hey, this comic comes out today. You should go to your store and buy it. And I'm like, they better not be selling that. It's breaking the street date. I don't know. I guess I was a little jerky about that. But they said something and then I hearted it. Isn't that how you get out of anything you say bad? So let me see. I want to get these first. Let's see. I want to get these all the way to here. All right, that'll be it. All right. Doesn't look like. All right, let's go to comments. Entertaining someone on the phone. Joel, did you start working extra hours as a... Come on. Why would it be that? Close your eyes. No, I read fortunes. Duh. It's all tarot for me. Battle Buddy. I felt like Rambo in police custody during the beginning of First Blood while I watched Echo tonight. It was painful and sucked. How do you sign that? I wish I had. Oh, we need now. See, AI should work on that so that I could have a little thing over here. An AI person doing the sign language. I'd totally put it up there. Slightly used copy on sale at our website. That's right. Hopefully, sucks bad enough. Echo's first appearance drops in price again. I'll be waiting. Agree. I bought the worst slab book today on eBay. That was the ad title. It was X-Men 17, free shipping and only 99 cents with a 10% off coupon. You mean the Adam Kubert one where like Colossus's parents die? That one? Am I wrong? Maybe that was 19. Sorry about that. I put in a bid for the My Comic Shop. They have an auction going on a whole bunch of stuff, and I saw something I wanted so that I'll have something to break open. I'm on the fence on dropping Fish Flies, $6, and there's less action than an X book. Understood. So that with tax ended up costing me 97. We should crack the slab. We'll do it at the store. It was Zack Snyder's original treatment for a Star Wars movie. I want to talk. I've been enjoying Wolverine, but I've been dreading the Sabretooth war story. Oh, come on. It's going to be great. If only Wolverine was like dating somebody right now so that Sabretooth could kill her. Question for folks who read Spider-Man. Why does Venom care about Miles? Oh, because Venom is Dylan now. Kids got to stick around, stick together. Is the new Jackpot series and that announced Black Cat and Jackpot series both being written by the same writer? I can't remember. I'll say signs point to yes. All right, let's get to the subject at hand. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Boom. I'm going to turn this off for a sec. All right, comic book covers. Isn't this a good picture? I was looking on Twitter. I was going to follow this or look at the spinner rack, see if I could get something to come up. But covers are very, very important. It gets someone to pick up a book. You know what I mean? It is a real thing. When you look at Twitter or Instagram accounts of people that put up, pictures of the old school covers, it doesn't even have to really be old school, but I like when they put the ones that come out around the same time because there's an aesthetic that you're getting from the time period. And certain things stand out above other things, but usually what the editors like, comes to the front. And at certain times, it's better. At certain times, the paper quality is better. And it seems like a lot of times these days, it hurts it. Also, there's an aesthetic that I'm just not really fond of. And I know I'm looking at things that are nostalgia for me, but for other people that are younger, it also is ringing true. Not entirely. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are going to say, oh, you know, back issue sales, it's never been better. Well, if we're talking about slabbed auction things or trying to get a really good price on something that might become a character in a movie or something like that, that's one thing. But hopefully within that style of collecting, the love of the hobby actually comes out a little bit more. You realize that there's nuances, that there's people that you've never really experienced before, or you never really saw them do something that wasn't what you know them for. And, you know, covers are really important. And sometimes, you know, covers are you know, not done by the people that work on the inside of the books. And part of my conversation about variant covers, I think, also has to be about that, because you're not getting everything that you had hoped for when you pick up that cover. But even more so these days, because of variant covers, it's really hard to know what you're getting. Anyway, my first variant cover that wasn't like a price variant that I recognized or didn't recognize, it was something that you heard about. And this is before, you know, Wizard mentions it and stuff like that. But, you know, it's out there and people know. And I don't remember exactly how that all happened, but it did in trade journals and stuff like that. The first one was Justice League #3. That's the cover that I got. Kevin Maguire on art. And really cool. It had this like super anti Cold War nuclear armament kind of message. And Guy Gardner got to be Super Rambo dude and fight the Ruskies. Awesome issue. There was a variant though. DC was trying out a different style of symbol, and this is what they went for. The Superman comics bullet up on the upper left. Kevin Maguire still doing the art, and it totally represents what was going on in the comic book still. The other comic was Firestorm, the Nuclear Man, #61. And there's the Superman bullet, Superman comics. Excuse me. And I think that's cool. I'm a Superman fan. I wonder what would have happened if that would have like been a thing. I forget where they sold those, but I think Buddy told me that they had them at a 7-Eleven or something. So I don't know if that was bullshit or not. But you know how things are. Let's see. Let me get this picture up. All right. I got to get these ready. These are some variant covers that I have that I want to show off. This is my black or glow in the dark Max #1. It's the only Max issue I have. I won this in a poker game. Dorks playing poker at a comic store. That's me right there. I know I've showed you these before, so I only got a couple of them out. We got the X-Force still in their bags, and like each one has a different card. The Deadpool ones have boards, but there you go. Now, the 90s get a really bad rap for variant covers, and a lot of people that are talking about variant covers will suggest that the 90s were bad for variant covers. But that's not true. The 90s were good for gimmick covers, like this awesome Wildcats #2 that I got a whole bunch of. They're always in really good condition or really bad condition. So there you go. It's a variant cover, and they're probably not going to reprint this. Here's a Spider-Man that I acquired later on, right here. Another foil. I'm a sucker for the foil stuff. I love foil. Something I'm not a big fan of, but my buddy Sean back in high school would have gone crazy for this. The hologram. I don't know if you can see that, but what it is you kind of like look at it like that, and then it kind of raises up out of it. It works, but it's not very good. Then, of course, you've got things like this with your bag and your card and stuff like that. Just crap. And then, of course, you got your famous 5-part or 4-part cover, 5-issue book series, the #1 of all time. Of course, I've got some right here, one of each. I'm not one of those crazy people that sells to comic stores and has a whole bunch. Here's one I love because my comic store isn't on here, but a store I work for that isn't around is right there. Great. Thanks, Todd. Always helping little guys. Some Uncanny X-Men variant. Now this is variant covers. Variant from the main cover. And yeah, so there you go. But the difference between them and now is that they do it all the time now. All right, first up. If you're not a fan of... Oh, well, I got everything up, really? Oh, that's great. All right, we'll get to that part later. All right, so I showed you those. Excellent. Let me just get rid of that. Make it a little cleaner so I can remember what I'm doing here. All right, the first thing I wanted to talk about was variant cover artists. So not always was it, that you would get the person working on the book doing the insides. Case in point, Neil Adams is great. He did a lot of Batman, but he didn't do all the Batman, and most of what he did was like covers. Same thing with his Superboys. I don't know if he ever did any of the interiors. The same guys that always did the Superboys for 60 years did them. Eventually it's going to be Kurt Swan. If it's not Kurt Swan, it's Kurt Schaffenberger. And if it's not Kurt Schaffenberger, it's, I don't remember, somebody else. Just the most amazing covers that make you want to pick up a book and take it 12 cents. Classic covers that you've seen, whether you've seen them or not. Maybe somebody has it in a poster in a person's room that everybody has to know this picture, right? This is the most iconic. This and this, as far as Superman and Batman or the Joker, let's say, are two of the most iconic, images of Bronze Age comic books. Maybe ever. You can debate me. The thing that was getting to me was a lot of people talk about liking people doing covers. And I feel like there had to be some sort of, I don't know, maybe it's stupid because it's just fandom, stupid people talking. I'm that stupid person having a conversation. I might have been sick that day when we were all having this conversation also. And I feel like the cover was something that you were supposed to earn. Okay. Unless it was somebody that was lending their talent from outside or somebody established that doesn't do a lot of stuff. This is something you have earned it. Neil Adams put in the work. And he did really awesome covers. And if you're going to keep him at all to do anything, this is what it is, because he has other things he can do and will do. Bill Sienkiewicz. Funny that we're going from Neil Adams to Bill Sienkiewicz, because he is kind of a in the early days, he would have been like a Neil Adams clone, let's say. Someone who obviously had some inspiration. Contemporaries at working at the same time, only because Neil Adams was, decades and decades and decades. And then Bill Sienkiewicz happened to fall in during that time. And, you can hardly not see how there's an influence. Even when Bill Sienkiewicz goes on and does his like really super great trippy stuff, there's elements of Neil Adams in his work. But these Bill Sienkiewicz covers are great. But that didn't stop Marvel from the early days, having another person do his variant, or not a variant, but doing the cover for him. And I couldn't find it. So upsetting, because like I even busted open my omnibus to see if there was maybe like the thing I remember reading. There was a Moon Knight where they were talking about the process of choosing how to get covers, and Bill Sienkiewicz wasn't landing the routine needed to get the cover of some of the books, and whether it was because of deadlines or not pleasing the editor, they got other people to do them. And it's like, you got Bill Sienkiewicz right here. Like, look at this. But it is in earlier issues. And the person they got to do for him was Frank Miller. And Frank, I just wish I could have pulled out my issues to try and find where that one was. But here's another Frank Miller. And we're gonna do a little sidetrack. We rolled for initiative. We rolled and we lost our way and had to find our way back onto the railroad. So before we do that, we're going to talk about Michel Fiffe, whose work I love. He does Copra. He writes and draws with pencils and inks and all that stuff. And he said, Frank Miller is a great storyteller, but he can't draw. Just listen to 2 interviews with vastly inferior pros who said this. Dopey take. And Michel Fiffe, I 100% agree. And then there's a lot of people in up the new stuff. And the thing about the new stuff that is great is it evokes a response, a feeling, an emotion, even the most ugly ones. And, Wolverine is not supposed to be a pretty character. But I mean, 2 pros. And I mean, everybody was like, oh, I'd love to know who those pros were. Yeah, I would definitely like to know who those pros were. And then other pros were getting in and retweeting and talking up Frank Miller. And amen. So let's go on to Frank Miller and variants, covers of books that he didn't do the interiors to. Next up. Amazing Spider-Man 203. Awesome. Look at that Dazzler on the cover. We got Rye. What is he? No, he's not. That's the other one. Just Rye, right? I guess that's all he is. Some valiant character. Here he is on ROM. Wouldn't be caught dead doing the interiors of this. Wouldn't be caught dead. And even though Gene Colan, who's done a shit ton of covers in his life, did a ton of stuff. Iron Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, worked in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Even though he was doing the interior of Wonder Woman, Frank Miller got the cover instead. I think it's a pretty studly cover, if you ask me. The whole run of covers of Wonder Woman during this time, I got to bring those up really quick. Let's see. I almost had this great, guys. Almost had this great. And then I'm going to talk about how my store has definitely succeeded in variant covers soon. But you know, these are so let's see Wonder Woman during this time. So we've got Gene Colan doing the insides. We got Mike Kaluta doing covers. And then we had Ed Hannigan doing covers. Ed Hannigan, I mean, it is a nice cover. It is a very nice cover. But Ed Hannigan, it's Gene Colan. He's doing all the work. It used to be a reward to get the cover. Here's some other cool Wonder Woman covers by people that didn't do the interiors. That one's pretty sweet. Did I get another one? Yes, I did. Same person. Is it Jeffrey Jones? I think is the name. Brian Bolland did a ton of Wonder Woman covers, and if they were slabbed in high condition or high grade, and they were CGC, and it was during the pandemic, these were going for a lot of money. He has no problem drawing sexy, powerful women. And I think the roles are definitely understood on the cover of the book. Brian Boland's a master. It's too bad he didn't do interiors too much. Here's another. And then we go into Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes did a lot of artwork at one time, but he's mostly known for his covers and especially his sexy Wonder Woman covers. And he can draw a dude too. This one's great. I think this was going for quite a big amount of money. And he was working for like during a lot of different people on the inside that were working during this time. So like different regimes. And yeah, so Wonder Woman. Let's see. A very, very, very famous cover artist who also did a lot of interior work. And a lot of times would be both in the same. But Marvel would have these periods where they would have like Gil Kane doing the covers of like all the books that would come out that month, it would seem. It's like, oh my God, we're in the time where we're like looking at Gil Kane, covers, and they're very recognizable and they're very powerful. And I mean, I could imagine definitely wanting to pick these books up off the shelf. And this isn't even nostalgia for me. This is before my time, really. Some of the Spider-Mans aren't because I maybe was like cognitive of him as a character. And maybe I got something early on, but more than likely I got a treasury-sized reprint book or a collected book of some stuff that Gil had done. I love the fact that he does all these covers and then he does the interior of the Spider-Man comic book that is like one of the most important of all times. And then it's John Romita that gets the cover. And then there's a second part with Gil Kane on the inside, and John Romita gets that cover too. Oh shit, I love how that stuff works. But I gotta admit, it's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I'm not even like the biggest John Romita fan, but he probably was like super happy that he got to draw the cover with Gwen being dead, because he's such a talk about simps for people, simps for Mary Jane. You know what I mean? Huh? Pretty classic cover though. Did not do the work on the inside, even though he's obviously a Spider-Man illustrator from the past. John Romito is, I mean, but these are all people that worked in the industry, and then they do stuff also, you know, working. So it's not egregious yet. You know what I mean? It's not uncommon to see Neil Adams do something in a comic book. It just doesn't happen very often, or as often as you want. Barry Windsor Smith, you know, he's going to do some stuff, but it's going to take a while to see him do anything else. And as they get older, that's pretty much the only thing they're really doing, you know, is doing covers. Case in point. Let me bring this up. Oh yeah, my two favorites. I'll bring up three favorites, but two for this subject. All right, let me get rid of these. Aren't those Wonder Woman covers so amazing? I mean, don't you want to, like, Mike Kaluta does a cover like that? Don't you want to pick that up? You know, Mike, I mean, what's wrong with, you can get some of the old timers to come back and do a cover, you know? I mean, sometimes they do that, but it just happens less and less. And the way it's happening, it's so frustrating. All right, first up. A guy that used to draw some books. Because of the lack of interiors, if we're talking about, you know, like rankings, I think this person gets hurt a little bit because of it. And it's just a little conversation we're having here. But Art Adams. And I love all his classic X-Men covers. I wish he did classic X-Men. Here is a Avengers classic that he did for that run. If I remember correctly, it was like 12 issues or something like that. And then mostly this is what Art Adams is doing these days, you know, close-up pictures of something that, I mean, it's nice, but it reminds me of what it used to be like. You know what I mean? But at least in the old days, it wasn't, that was the cover. You know, he was doing the cover. I didn't want to like keep going through all of this person's covers, so I was kind of cheaping out on this one. But some of these he did the artwork on the inside, but often he was doing so many covers. And when we had Joe Casey on, I was kind of making fun of Al Milgrom. And the thing is like, if he wasn't writing a comic book or editing a comic book or having an editorial in one of the epic comics that he did, he was writing or drawing or lettering or inking or coloring or doing the cover of something, all during the 80s and 90s. And here's some Peter Parker Spider-Mans that made me never want to read them. It does evoke a response, I got to admit, but I hate it. I can't stand it. And here's an Avengers. He was definitely drawing Avengers during this time, and I was definitely not reading Avengers during this time. You know, everybody talks glowingly. There are like, people are out there, you know, everybody likes to say that people don't like women and people of color in my comic books. Well, I like Monica Rambeau. And I love the event. You're talking about these Avengers, and if you like this, that's what I say. You're not doing her any justice. It's a long ways away from the Stern issues. So that's kind of like a lot of the classic people that are out there. Oh, here's another great one. Another Art Adams Black Cat cover. Just not how I want to really remember my cover artist. Now, as far as the store, so we're talking about variant covers now. So there are people that, so the thing is I like the idea that someone earned their cover. I couldn't get it done in time, so we got one of our people to do it. We have these people ready to go to do covers, or maybe we're going to do something where we want to dominate the cover, the stand, but we want to do it in look, and we want an aesthetic. And that was what the books looked like when you went to the comic book rack. Whether you can see the entirety or not, they had a way of doing something so that they could draw in the reader. And now the covers are driving the sale of the comic books, but are they driving the reader to actually care about pulling in the comic book to read it? I had a customer come in and say, and this is not, look, and I'll tell you my response. They said, I'm picking this up for the cover. And I said, yeah, because it's an awesome cover. And it was the X-Men book that had the Ski Chalet Storm variant. And it was an awesome cover. It was fantastic. And if you got something because it was pretty and you wanted to pick it, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. You should get yourself something a little pretty every once in a while. But if that was the real, that's the thing, is that was the reason why that person was picking up the book. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but is it a good thing? These are the questions I ask myself when I'm ordering them. Am I going to be hurting somebody by picking this up? I don't want to hurt somebody. And also there's problems sometimes. So you would think that at least the person that does a book would get the A cover, let's say. But that doesn't really happen all the time. I put these out of, well, it doesn't matter. This is the very, very first cover of Conan the Barbarian. So I told you we'd be getting back to this. Jim Zub, Titan, they have a hit on their hands with Heroic Publishing or Signature, and they're going to do all sorts of Conan and Robert E. Howard things. And they let off with a really, really a banger of a cover with Dan Panosian. But the thing is that everybody that talks about how wonderful this book is, they're talking about the interior illustrator, Robert De La Torre, because he is biting hard on Jean Buscema, but in the best ways possible. Like how you kind of got bored of looking at all that awesome John Buscema stuff because he was kind of bored of it too. Well, this guy's hungry. And he got the B cover. Look at that. What if you're a cheap store or you're a person that's like, I'm going to make a stand. I'm only going to get the A cover and the Mike Mignola cover. Or I'm only going to get Patrick Zurcher because Patch is my favorite nutball in all of comics. And he's doing a homage to Barry Windsor Smith. Oh my goodness, that's great. Or you all got the wraparound world map. But look at that one. And look at that one, Artgerm. Oh my goodness. But isn't it insulting that the cover, the guy who did all the work that made everybody cry about Conan being so good, couldn't even get, let's face it, all of Dan Panosian's interior works was a long time ago, and it ain't that good. So what is he other than just a cover artist? Compared to the guy who's doing the spanking work that's making everybody love Conan for the first time in a long time. Thank you, Jim Zub. And thank you, Robert De La Torre. And thank you, Dougie Braithwaite, and your fill-in illustrations that are really good. But now we're going to somebody. We're going to go to Artgerm. We just saw a picture of the Conan that he did. Is Archer even a person for real? Are these really real? Let me count those fingers on that hand. I question every once in a while. All right, I question all the time. But art isn't always about putting something pleasing to the eye. They don't always have to be the same thing. And every once in a while it works. Or it doesn't. But, there's an aesthetic that the guy has. And people seem to like it, right, Lane? And yeah, so there you go. Art Germ. I sell a lot of Art Germ covers. I see a comic book, so I have the A cover if I'm smart and I order the A covers. I will then look at the B covers and hopefully I get an actual look of what it's going to, be. That's not always the case. It's not always the case. So, maybe you risk it, you don't get it, maybe say you do. I know I have X amount of people that care about Art Germ, and I know some other people that, like to spec on books. And if I think it's the thing that people really like to spec on books about, maybe we'll get more. I used to kill back in the day with Marvel Now and Scotty Young variant covers. These baby covers, I mean, I could get so many of these, and they just added to the total, to the overall book of something that I was buying, to where you get those incentive variant covers. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy business. Crazy business. I hate it. It's depressing. All right. So maybe I shouldn't care about I shouldn't care so much about whether or not a person has earned the right to do a cover. I mean, I like I said, it's just kind of one of those things I bring up when we're doing the rankings of people and whether or not we like something. But sometimes when you do that, you start thinking about the nuances of the thing and how it kind of hurts more than it helps. And it's like when there's a bottom line and you're doing well, you almost don't ever want to bring it up. But it's predatory. I mean, every fucking year, there's something. All right, here's a variant cover I love of mine. The Gone with the Wind, Superman, Wonder Woman cover. I don't collect this book. Oh, look at this Art Germ cover. Right there. But wait. Then they'll do like, this is Women's History Month or year or whatever it was. So here's a whole bunch of these right here. Ghost Rider, that doesn't even make sense to me. Iron Man. Oh, because he was dating Patsy at the time. She was telling him what a shithead he was. Silk. Spider-Woman. Nice. Right here. That's it. Crazy. Black History Month is coming up. Mexican Heritage. They do something, Mexican Heritage, and then it insults people. But almost always it's white people. It doesn't matter if it's one way or the other. It's always a white person getting upset from a Mexican. I didn't like they was carrying tamales. You know what's on sale? Crazy. All right, let's go. My favorite one. Oh no. All right, here. Okay, no, we'll end with my favorite and my least favorite, and there's a reason, and I think we can figure out the reason why. But first, this is the problem. Image Comics had a strong quarter, moving from 9.8 to 12% behind the performance of Skybound's new Hasbro series and Boom Studios. Dark Horse Comics and Viz Media all posted gains as well. The big two were outperformed. Okay, so I just told you that Spider-Man had the #1 book, and it had the #1 book in, like, generating cash and all this other stuff. But Transformers did really, 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 really well. Image is never not the #3 company. In fact, if you can take a look at those very, very small numbers, it goes from 12 to 4. So we're even talking about Viz and how great they're doing. They're up to 2.8. Okay. You see, they're up. Good. They are up. Over 50% of the market is Marvel and DC. And Image had a blip. They had a blip with their #1 issue. Their #1 issue was the Transformers. Daniel Warren Johnson is the writer. He's also the artist. His art in the books sell immediately for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. The covers go for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. There are people that love the Transformers. There are people that love Daniel Warren Johnson. There are people that love the Transformers that have money. There are people that love Daniel Warren Johnson that have money. Sometimes they love both things, and it's doing very, very well. And he had a second cover that he did, and he did a third cover that he did, and he had other people do covers for him, Ryan Utley, and there were many, many stores that had many, many different versions of this. Transformers covers were superfluous, and they all gained in, they all was a big boom. #1, Transformers. Oh my gosh. Nobody cares about Marvel and DC anymore. Spider-Man's still at #3 like always. He must be. People don't like it as much anymore. Transformers #3 is now #3 or #4, and Spider-Man is up at the top spot again. It's only a little bit. And if you didn't have 37 other covers, then it might not be doing as well as all that. But Spider-Man does do that quite a bit also. It's not a coincidence that the odd covers of Spider-Man are high in the chart, because there's those Mickey Mouse or Disney variant covers that are running through Spider-Man, but could be anything else. Like Disney Iron Man in Spider-Man 33. Iron Man. Mickey. Oh, they'll never do it. The Demon in a Bottle, Mickey Mouse, or Goofy, Demon in a Bottle. Do I have any artists out there? Demon in a Bottle, Goofy. Let's work on it. Eric Canetti has a page. You should go look and see his original artwork, but I need them to do that for me. Write that down. Demon in a Bottle. So Transformers #3 now with a whole lot less variants. I am ordering less than I did of #1. Duh. That's what happens. I'm also trying to excite people to keep buying it. We have a raffle for anybody that is a poll customer for Transformers. This will be for the second issue. You have till next week. to figure out if I want to let you slide. Nonetheless. All right, my favorite. My favorite, because this person also does interiors and is going to be doing a monthly 12-part story starting in March. We got Peach Momoko. Peach. I think her work is great. She has an aesthetic that is going to be very interesting to a book that's going to be part of a major storyline that's going in the Hickman universe. How is she going to play with others? And how is it going to translate? There's also going to be the Brian Edward Hill Black Panther. And again, I asked the same question. But Brian Edward Hill working with another person is probably going to be a lot more editorially driven or Jonathan Hickman driven. Whereas Peach Momoko writing and drawing the entirety of the X-Men story that she's going to do. How's that going to play out? Very interesting. I can't wait. March. She does variant covers, but she's also done Demon Wars and has equipped herself well to telling a sequential story. So I don't really have any problem believing that her stuff is going to look good in the X-Men book. It's just whether or not the story is going to be worth a damn. The Demon Wars stuff is cute and neat, but again, it isn't continuity driven. And even though we're talking about continuity in the Ultimate Universe, she's going to have to do a little bit more than just look good. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to find out. But the problem that I had with an artist, and I personally love this person's work, it's not always physically or fundamentally sound, which is a lot of conversation that's going on in comic book Twitter right now among artists. Maria Wolf. Maria the Wolf. She's done mostly stuff for Marvel. I think she's done Barbaric and a few other things, and I think her work is intricate. And when it is really intricate, I really like it. And although I have these covers somewhere, I can't remember where I put them. I thought I was going to do mushrooms one day and make sure I have Maria Wolf's work in front of me because it's already moving as I look at it. And it's very, very intricate and detailed. And my buddy Talking Soul in the chat was talking her up, saying, well, she can't do interiors because she can't do this stuff that, the way it is. And I cry bullshit to that. She doesn't care to do it. She's not a comic book illustrator. And she's just a variant cover whore. A very good one. One that I want to trip balls to. I hear she's a party person. I would love to party. Let's party. Come on into the store. You don't have to go to that other one. We'll talk about your art. I'll see if I can influence you to do, what was that thing we were going to do? Can't even remember already. Look, I got this one right here. Boom. I think she does wonderful work. I mean, she's a credit to anybody that wants to work in comic books. But part of working in comic books, for me, to fully love them, I need some interiors. I need to be able to see what you see with a story. Because to me, the comic book is most important is the story. The art that goes along with it is the integral part of telling the story, but it's not the only part of it. And part of the art is the nuts and bolts of being able to move it along also. It is less common to get a perfect comic book with more people working on it. That's why when we usually talk about our Mount Rushmores, we might talk about a Will Eisner or a John Byrne or a Bill Sienkiewicz, maybe, or a Frank Miller. It might be why we allow variations in artwork because it works with the story. But I also feel that there's some collaborations. Let's say Peter Milliken and Mike Allred on Ecstatics that you're never going to ever going to see again. Chris Bocciolo working with Joe Kelly on Steampunk. Or maybe his work on Shade the Changing Man with Peter Milliken. Or his work on X-Men with Mike Carey. That kind of stuff. With Grant Morrison. With Scott Lobdell. He worked on X-Men a lot. But then you get an inker and a colorist, and it's not just one person doing everything like Cerebus until he did get a partner. But even then, let's be real. So Maria Wolf, although I really, really appreciate her artwork, I don't make enough money, or they don't pay enough for me to do this stuff. There has to be a change because people aren't buying I bought multiple copies of comic books at one time because they were good. Then I started buying multiple copies of comics because of a gimmick. It was usually because it was bagged. I want to open one and read it and keep the other one in the other, in the bag. And then I didn't give a crap. I shook hand all of them. They're all crap. But don't worry. I got a bag full of my cards. We'll do a whole episode based on that someday. The variant covers are propping up the sales, and it's saying, hey, look, Image is doing very well. Image is never always really doing very well. Things that Image do, and then most of the other stuff doesn't. Variant covers are good for sales. In my store, mostly, I have 2 or 3 people that care about buying multiple comics because of variant covers. Not everybody buys every single one of them, and some do, of what they like. Whether it's all the Spider-Woman covers that come out. Oh, I should say Spider-Gwen. I'll make sure to have a bunch of those Spider-Gwen covers coming out. Or somebody that wants, every DC cover, follow Fantinuum. But man, I would like to like the people working on the covers a little bit more. And I would respect them a lot more. And also the choices of the editors to bring these people into our world. You know what I mean? Like, we're lucky Maria the Wolf is an indigenous persons who does really cool artwork for the comic books. But I'd rather the person that does the cover really do awesome covers and interiors happen to be indigenous. That's when I like it even more. And we get a lot of people working in the industry. It's like, well, if we were getting somebody from outside, like we have this Ryan Gonzalez that does covers, and I just kind of feel like she's a watered down. And if I remember correctly, Jill, it's Lisa Frank who does all the the Trapper Keepers or all the Pretty Pony kind of flowery, sparkly shit. And Ryan Gonzalez just kind of feels like a little bit of like an anime version of that or something. And why not just go get the real person or the real person that did the real stuff? You know what I mean? Whatever. Because that person's 90 now, Yule. That's why. That might be true. But wouldn't that be cooler if we just like, oh, this person's like, it's kind of cool when they're doing the like I have that Wolverine with the Van Gogh. That's kind of cute and haha funny. And I got the Sunday in the Park with George one for Jill, the X-Force one. It's cool. You got to see that. And if you know that kind of stuff, but then they make those things incentives. They're not just variant covers. Like I like that when Marvel did the second issues were variants. They did the Starburst of the first issue and then the regular cover. And on the second issue, they did a variant. And then that was it. No more. And then everything became a variant cover all the time. It hurts. It's hard to order. It's not good for the book in the long run. And more books do this all the time. Even in the crowd-funded sphere, you see a lot of people have multiple covers. I was going to do a crowdfund, I think, for a Matt Kent one, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're offering me, so I didn't get anything. I'll just wait for it to come out through Dark Horse or something like that. All right, we're gonna go to comments in just a second, but first. That's right. If you've enjoyed the show, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. We talk about comics here. Talk about things about comics. Talk about my feelings on it. And it's really just me and a little bit of you. So if you say something in chat, if you say something in the comments afterwards, I will read it. Whether or not I say it on the show, I'm a forgetful guy. But you don't want to be forgetful. And you also want to be seen. You don't want to be like George.
My last name is Costanza. That's Italian. So you and I are kind of like countrymen. Huh?
Paisanos!
650 your change. Ah, yes. And I always take care of my paisano. So here's a little something.
Antonio!
Si!
Vieni qua! Questa miserabile patrona!
That's right. We have a Patreon channel page. It's Fantastic Comics. We have Substack. It's free. Twitter, Instagram. If you want to follow us, it's just Fantastic Comics. You can get a hold of me. We're all over the place. But yeah, we have a Patreon page, and that's where the majority of your money gets sent to us. We thank you very much. You can also be a subscriber to this channel, but we're doing very, very little with that. But we're working on it. Trust me. Same thing with Patreon. We don't do anything extra, but I have a soul felt expression that I want to put out there, and it ain't going to be for anybody that isn't a subscriber to this channel, but I definitely want to make it a Patreon audio type thing. I was thinking about it all day yesterday, and I didn't do anything about it, but it hasn't really hit home yet. So I want it to be full on unbridled Yule and kind of express something. So if you want to get in on that action, no guarantees, you should hit up our Patreon. Like all of these fine folks still do to this day. Sometimes in, sometimes out, sometimes back, sometimes forth. But they've got us through the pandemic, paid off some electric bills when we weren't even open. How do you accrue those? And phone bills when you weren't making any money, but you needed to get this thing up so you could at least talk to somebody about stuff. You really help out. Thanks. I really appreciate it. It's keeping this channel going too. So yeah, thank you everybody for that. You're awesome. Yeah. All right, going to the comments. Let's see. Okay. So then let's see. Wait, hold on a second. Okay. My favorite was seeing an interview where Quesada disparaged the greed of comic companies in the 90s with the gimmick covers. How many did he do? Oh, then he created Marvel Knights. Good job, Talking Soul. That's right, you guys. He was already in charge of Marvel at the time of the interview. We're not going to talk politics. Liefeld said on his podcast that he prefers doing covers because it's easier and the rates are better, obviously, but mostly that it's easier. Yeah, without a doubt. Although I think I could lay out a Liefeld page. I mean, it's 3 panels max with an inset, maybe if you want to call that 4 or 5 panels. Boop boop. Pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, that's what he gets down to. And yes, he said on his podcast, and he said he talked about things that, people might not realize. He might be working 3 years in a row, and whether that's 6 books or 18 issues that comes out, that's like pretty much him working 3 years. And he might also be doing covers during that time. And, he did that 5-issue series with the G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes. He did other things. He did Major X for Marvel. He did some Deadpool stuff for Marvel. He did some extra add-ons to the Deadpool that he did for Marvel. He finally finished a campaign that may or may not have gotten out there. But he, during that time, it's 3 years of maybe your kid going through high school's life. They were a freshman and now they're a senior, and cats in the cradle and all that. Yeah, doing a cover is way easier, of course, especially if he has a hungry assistant that knows how to color. I mean, that era of Superboy had Bob Brown inked by Wally Wood. Other issues with Murphy Anderson. There you go. Bob Brown, not the kind of guy that you would expect to get a cover. Although he may have done every other Daredevil that wasn't done by Gene Colan during that time, or after that time. Bob Brown did a shit ton of Batman books. So yeah. Talk and tell. Here we go. Maria Walsh said that too. She said she just likes to party too much. Says yes to offers and sobers up to 10 deadlines by Monday. Well, I mean, in no way is this rant or conversation about someone not deserving to get work. But yes, you also said that she said that her stuff is so intricate and she gets lost into it that she can't do it. No, she doesn't do it. And there is a certain amount of looseness and effort and work that you have to put in to actually make a comic book. And if we're giving, there are so many there are so many people that are deserving. There are so many people that are undeserving doing the work inside and out. And it's being buoyed by all the, if it would be one thing, if it was the main cover and Maria the Wolf, main cover and Peach Momoka, main cover and Derek Chu, main cover and Stanley Artgerm. You have decided that you want those people. But what they do is Artgerm and Maria the Wolf and some classic person that we're not going to use next week or next month, or, and on and on. Oh, we're going to have a baby variant by some asshole that nobody fucking knows that any fucking person could have fucking done. And this is not making fun of Scotty Young. He did his time, So it just kind of sucks. It's all I'm saying. Dang, I need that too. You better not outbid me. Can you imagine if Marvel pushed Dazzler like they did years ago today in the age of social media and the clickbait rage machine? Let's manifest Joe Corallo doing Dazzler, and I'll tell you why. Because if Joe Corallo did Dazzler, then whether he knows it or not, his idea is almost exactly my idea. And I'm okay with it. Gil Kane did at least 800 covers throughout the 70s. They were called his alimony covers. Yep. Road Comic says those Maria Wolf covers are fire. They are fire. Her Spider-Man one where he's kind of like posing and he's like all perched is kind of lame, but also if doing covers keeps Rob off interiors, that's a hit I'm willing to take. That's right. That's exactly right. Thank you everybody for joining me. We'll see if this one stays up or if I've been just kind of pushing a little bit on the videos. So this one is the entirety of that Brady Bunch one I played. So enjoy. See you next week.
To a car wash?
Not ever get rich. Let me tell you, it's better than digging a ditch or being chased by a witch.
There ain't no telling who you might meet.
A movie star, maybe even a Indian chick. Working at the car wash. Working at the car wash. Yeah. Come on and sing it with me. Car wash. Get with the feeling, y'all. Car wash. Yeah. Come some of the work gets kinda hard.
This ain't no place to be if you plan on being a star.
Let me tell you, it's always cool. And the boss don't mind sometimes if you act a fool at the car wash. Working at the car wash. Yeah. Come on and sing it with me. Car wash. Get with the feeling, y'all. Car wash. Yeah. Work and work. Well, those cars never seem to stop. Come in, work and work. Keep those drag machines humming. Work and work. Back in the smooth bone. Work. I can't wait till it's time to go home. Hey, get your car washed today.
Fill up and you don't have to pay.
Come on and give us a play.
Get a wash right away.
Car wash. Working at the car wash. Yeah. Come on now, sing it with me. Car wash. Get with the feeling, y'all. Car wash. Car wash. Working